guys! Good morning! Look at my little pumpkin friend here. How cute is this? Seriously, got it from Aldi. You never know what you're gonna come up with at Aldi. Like, I just spilled a drop of it on my leg. That'll wake you up, actually. Getting a drop of hot coffee on your inner thigh at about 5:25 in the morning, that'll get you. What I was gonna say was you never know what you'll find at Aldi when it comes to the aisle of shame. You know, like the random aisle that they have. It's talked about a lot in the Aldi Facebook group that I'm part of. I think it's called like Aldi Nerds or something. But I haven't been inside an Aldi in the longest time, but I always do the Instacart thing. Anyway, sadly this video is not an Aldi haul. It's a makeup related haul and it's really random. There are some things from the drugstore. There's some high-end stuff, just some things where I was like, ooh, I haven't addressed that yet. I haven't talked about that thing yet. Let's just pop them into a big haul video and actually let's just put them on as we go. I always love hauls like that where you can just sort of see everything as it happens. Here's the first thing. By the way, I've already moisturized and all that, but this Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer, this is the mini size of 2C1 blush. I had been sent a full size of this, I think in a PR package, and it was not the right shade, and I really still did want to try it, so time passed and I was like, well, we'll see if I'm still interested. And then I noticed they had minis. I thought, perfect, we'll get a mini of it and see if I can come up with the right shade. Don't you feel like Laura Mercier, back when the packaging was kind of like grayish, very simple, it's still very simple, but it's sort of beige. But back in the day, I feel like this brand was known to have kind of iconic like primers and tinted moisturizers. Am I right about that? And after doing that whole BB and CC video, I remembered thinking, gosh, you know, I missed the boat by not having a Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer to compare to everything. So I've dotted that all around, and this is not my first time using some of this stuff. A couple of the things will be kind of new today, but some of it I have been playing with. Got this guy clean, my Real Techniques RT Go brush. I know it feels like it's been ages. We're talking very light coverage with this. Certainly, like, I'm seeing an overall skin tone evening. I do think this would be the right shade for me, and a really generous sample size, honestly. How much is in there? 0.8 fluid ounces. And this does have SPF 30 in it, just so you know. But I think you're getting a light coverage, you're getting an overall skin tone evening, and a very like natural skin look. Don't you feel like it just looks like natural moisturized skin, but I don't look over the top, really unusually glowy, or I don't look super matte either. It's just kind of like natural skin. I'm feeling like it's nice. I'm not really thinking it's anything to write home about, but let me add a little bit more. Let's try building. Adding a little bit up in here, just to see if we can create any coverage. Sometimes with light coverage tinted moisturizers, stuff like this, building just really isn't a thing. It just stays light still. I don't necessarily think that gave me any more coverage, but it made me look even glowier. The more you put on, the more your skin just looks, you know, hydrated. I put that on, I say, it's fine. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not like, wow, but it's fine. This, guys, first time using this, just got this yesterday in with my Walmart stuff. It is the Hard Candy Glamouflage Pro Full Coverage Concealer. I had never known this was a thing, but I do now. I have it in the shade Light. And yeah, you know, we're waiting to see if this can hang with the Shape Tapes and the e.l.f. Camo concealers of the world. Got a big doe foot there, kind of a chubby pointed back doe foot. This shade's gonna be a little brightening on me, but I don't think it's going to be too light. So that's kind of my like amount. If I can stick to a couple dots on the inner eye area and one over the remaining melasma that I kind of have, that's usually good. A little around the nose, go a little upper lip and a little chin. Thank you guys so much for your sweet feedback on the last video. The one where we talked a lot about gratitude, daily gratitude habits. I'm really glad you enjoyed that. For those of you who are like, I needed this video at this very moment, like that's why I do things like that. I really hope I can catch somebody at a time where they felt like that was what they needed to hear, you know? Anyways, what are we thinking here? I'm thinking I need a smaller brush. The coverage is really nice. Now, Glamouflage, in terms of a good foundation, like it's a very full coverage, like $6, a great full coverage foundation from the drugstore, one of the fullest you're gonna find for the lowest price, if you can find it, which is sometimes the challenge. Not everybody has hard candy in their Walmart store, and if you don't have it there, you gotta try to get it online, and the selection wasn't always there either. I do feel really brightened. Product feels like a super standard concealer, maybe not quite as thick as like the e.l.f. Camo concealer, and not quite the moisture level of the hydrating one. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm not 100% with what's happening here. I got some darkness there still. I still got some darkness right out here. Granted, I didn't apply a ton, but that was the amount of like Shape Tape or Camo concealer I'd put on. Maybe the shade is just a little light to do its best on this kind of discoloration. I can just see through it a little bit. Not the worst. And also, you know, the foundation, quote unquote, the tinted moisturizer that I had on underneath was not offering a lot of help coverage wise. So there we are. I can definitely deal with it. I'm interested to see how it wears because I think that tells a lot about, you know, is it going to start to look dry and crusty there? Is it going to wear really beautifully? We shall see. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, here's another concealer type thing that I got from Sephora, I believe it was, the Becca Under Eye Corrector, brightening corrector. And I have it in light to medium, and I remember kind of like getting on this product quite a while ago, like back when Benefit Erase Paste was still a thing. And I could have sworn there was like shimmer in this back the first time I used it. Now this was years ago, but I remember thinking, why would anybody put like this light shimmery thing on their under eye area? Now I'm not seeing the shimmer, but this is very, very brightening, and I've used it sometimes like just before a concealer like the Hard Candy. I will dab it around this inner corner, and then you top that off with just some regular concealer and you look brightened like nobody's business. I'm gonna have to do that in a video, but today I really just wanted to see what the Hard Candy would do alone. But I got that stuff and I really like it. I also got this. This is from Fenty, and it is the Invisimatte blotting powder in Universal. Basically what happened was I saw Jessie James Decker doing an Instagram makeup tutorial and she used this, so I guess I thought I needed to use this too. The compact is great. I love this little, like, it looks kind of like a book. It opens so easy. What you've got here is a matte powder that really doesn't pick up a whole lot on your brush. I think we've all experienced some matte setting powders like this where it's like, okay, you're gonna get the lightest amount possible on there. And it's kind of nice for not over applying. Now look what just happened to my nose, for example. That was shining, and now I went over it with this powder and a matte. But it's kind of nice when it comes to like pacing yourself in application. You don't want too much of that powder on the under eye, so it's like, yeah, we're not gonna give you too much. It's not gonna be like a real loosely pressed powder like we've all experienced from time to time with different maybe powder foundations. It's very like firm, but it is mattifying, and I don't feel like it shows once I get it on the skin. I don't feel like I'm getting a whitish cast anywhere, but it's been nice just for that quick T-zone setting. But it's certainly not the only thing out there that would do something like this. I mean, Rimmel Stay Matte is actually a really good option. While those come in skin tone colored shades, they kind of remind me of this in that you put your brush in, you don't get too much, but you do end up with a really nice mattified effect. Now we move on to something I have mentioned, but I don't think I've actually used it in a video. It's my Hourglass Sculpture Palette. This is totally going to get reviewed. I've been using it so much. I'm really just trying to get a feel for if I think it's worth it, what my favorite parts of this palette are. I will say the bronzer in here is probably the deepest bronzer I have ever used from Hourglass. It has the most impact on the skin, and that is the Natural Bronze Light right here. So I'm going to go in and use some of that. It also has the ambient lighting powder in diffuse or dim light and diffuse light right there. And those can be kind of nice sort of like setting powder options, or random powders you can kind of like mix in with other shades to give them a little lighter look. I have been incredibly impressed with Hourglass's bronzers over the past, what was it, like probably 6 months. That was when I really started getting into them, and I just feel like they're so effortless to put on. This one, maybe a bit more effort just because it's deeper. You know, you got to watch it a little bit more, but I really like it. I would say this is one of my favorite elements of this compact, one of the parts of it that I'm most excited to pop on. They just have an ease about them. They're able to show up like bronzers, but maybe it's the finish of them, you know, the very gentlest of luminous finishes in there that just makes them go on the skin and look really easy. The blushes in here, you've got this one that looks like kind of a bright coral mixed with a warm sort of champagne-y color. That one is the Strobe Blush in Vibrant Flush, and then right next to that we have the blush in Mood Exposure. I believe that one has been around for some time and I'd never tried it till this palette, and I really like it, so that I'm using Mood Exposure right now. You might be wondering, what's that going to turn out to look like? It looks kind of plummy, you know, kind of cool. Here's what that one looks like. Just like rosy X Factor kind of, how does it look that good? Okay, my cheeks look nice. I don't know how we got here, but they look nice. Yep, that's Mood Exposure. Love it. And then also there is a highlighter in here, and this is called, just follow the numbers, match them up, Strobe Powder Glistening Strobe Light. This is a more subtle highlight than what was in the Unlocked palette. But as you'll see, it's still brightening, it still shows, but in an even more natural way. I like it. I really do enjoy it. It looks very convincing on the skin, as I think all Hourglass powders tend to do. Whatever powder you're using, you know, they're nice textures. They don't look powdery. Your highlight's not going to look like a big streak of artificial stuff going on. But yeah, that's going to be a subtle effect from the highlight, but I like it. I'm not complaining one bit. Again, more of a review coming on this stuff. I'm going to just set my face with the Rare Beauty setting spray that I have here handy. For more on Rare Beauty, check out that full video. Oh, here's another cheek thing that I wanted to share that I will be trying and reviewing. It's from Clinique and it's the Cheek Pop palette. And I want to say this is Black Honey, this is Pink Honey, and then a highlighter in here. I'll correct myself if I just made that up. But those are really nice blushes, and I just thought this looked like a cute little set that I might enjoy. I do not have a new brow thing, so I'm going to use just an old random brow thing. This is my Glossier Boy Brow in the shade Brown, and you know, I've done it before. I'll do it again. I feel like this has enough color in it to where I can really just do the whole thing just with this. Sometimes if it's feeling like kind of a more casual look, you know, this just feels like the right thing to do. You know, got tinted moisturizer on. We only took about, I don't know, a dozen steps on the face already. Casual. Oh, I just remembered we don't have school today. It's Columbus Day as I shoot this. Days when you don't have school take on a whole new meaning when you're the teacher. Am I right, remote families out there? Okay, there's Boy Brow, just filling in the brows. Still, I think they look great, and that was just a one-step deal. I'm gonna prime my lids. I'm not gonna do anything different there. Made some out-of-this-world beef stroganoff last night in the Instant Pot. I will share the recipe below. The first time I made that months back, I did not include the truffle oil, and that stuff is really expensive for a really small bottle. By really expensive, I mean like at Walmart you're gonna pay $9, $10 for a tiny bottle, but you put a tablespoon of that in there in that big old pot, I swear it does something. It's really good. But if you're a fan of mushrooms, you're gonna love this. As far as the eyeshadow, I'm gonna point out a couple of things that I do have. I have the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice. It's one of their smaller palettes that I was interested in trying. It appears that every shade in this has been taken from the original, just FYI. This is the Salted Caramel palette. We're looking at neutral, we're looking at maybe a little bit plummy in there, rusty type shades. I've been playing with both of those. Then there's yet another small palette that I missed that I will also be getting from Too Faced, and I think I'm gonna probably lump them all into one video when I do that. But here's the one I'm gonna use today. It's the Huda Beauty Haze palette in the shade Khaki. There are several of these. She likes to put out little like families of palettes, and this is the one I chose. and I really like it. I like Huda's shadows quite a bit. I tend to really enjoy the color combos and certain things. I had a hunch I was gonna like this one. So far, just playing with it a little bit, the mattes, I love this grouping of matte shades that are in here. And I think you could do a really pretty all matte look, but they've got some nice pops in here as well that are kind of light. So yeah, I'm just gonna dive into this today. I'm gonna go down here to this light, kind of warm brown. I'd love to know if you've tried any of these yet or which one you chose. Which one did you feel most drawn to? Sorry, forgot to say anything. I just kind of got lost in my own little world blending that one out. That looks nice. There's sort of a blush color right up here that I might just let sort of fade out from the top of this. That shade also works nicely in the crease. I started a look with that. Next up, I want to, I want to keep going on the crease and bring in some of this. It's a great mix of brown and maroon, and I want to deepen just a little bit in there. Got my brushes all nice and washed over the weekend. That was a good feeling. Okay, got my process on Instagram and under probably the makeup section if you want to see how I do that. Then we're going to go straight to the middle to this murkiest of murky olive greens, and we're going to pat that on the lid out here. So I feel like with this Haze series, she went for colors that are, a little bit off the beaten path, not really super pure seeming colors. You're not getting like that true emerald in here or real purpley plum. You're getting like a very dark plum, a very murky olive. And that's the point, I think. All right, so I'm patting that over a good half of the lid. I just want to see, like, does that even look the least bit olivey in application? I think it does. I think it looks pretty true to color, and I think it looks nice side by side with those tones in the crease. Now let's see, the shade next to it kind of makes you wonder, when it hits the light it looks pretty bright, but what are we really working with there? Kind of a mix of gold and a little olive as well. I'm kind of surprised that that's applying so nicely with the brush. I did sense a little fallout with it though. I would say even though it can really catch the light in the palette, it doesn't look drastically lighter than actually that color in application. It's just got a little more of a sheen. Definitely got some fallout there. I probably wouldn't have that much fallout if I had just really packed it on with my finger. Then I've got to see this shade up here. So this is a very, very light kind of greenish looking gold. Wondering how that would be around the inner corner. It looks really just kind of sparkly. Even in a swatch, like it just looks like sheer sparkle. I'm not in love with that shade. The pink I used a little bit yesterday, that's a little bit more opaque. And that peach in the bottom, kind of a copper actually, nice. I'd like to also use my smudge brush with this matte and kind of go under the eye with it too. And I'm just sticking with that matte olive, and just whatever's left, I'm letting it trail on inward. I'm not going for a real incredibly bold look today. I know it's going to be like a linerless look and whatever, so I'm going to take a little bit of this with my finger. This was the shade that I was like, it might be a little sheer. Wonder what it'd look like topping off, like center of the lid. It might depend on the lighting you're in as to how much that's going to show, but that adds more shine, more brightness. Only thing I feel like I want to go back and do is maybe take more of my initial crease shade, that brown in the corner. Just sort of reinforce that. How do we feel about the olive and this warm shade together? I think I like it. I would say if you're all about green and you really want to see green, 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 it's very much on the subtle side in this palette, but it is nice. And I kind of like the warm tie-in. I feel like you're really going to be prone to using that or that in the crease. And this shade as well, that brings a lot of warmth to your surrounding colors. And then I'm going to put some ABH double-ended brow pencil, the matte end, in my lower inner rim because I felt tired this morning. Next up, I'm going to curl the lashes, and you're not going to believe what mascara I'm going to hit you with. Here's a hint, it's not new at all. Play a little guessing game here. I heard about it again on TikTok. I definitely have used it quite a few years ago, but it's having a little comeback moment on TikTok. It's in a gold tube. It's a drugstore brand, and the name goes along with something you might look through to see something very far away. Any guesses? Should we do this in a video sometime? Telescopic mascara. I had to get it in black brown because that's all Walmart had. You got your little telescope, long skinny brush. Yep. See that? But this girl I follow on TikTok was raving about it, and her lashes really looked great with it on. And so I'm thinking, maybe I need to revisit that. I can't really tell that this is black brown, honestly. It just looks like black. Dang, it is, I mean, it's quite lengthening. And the formula doesn't feel too wet and goopy, you know? The brush really controls it, because the brush, I mean, it's so slim, it wouldn't hold a lot anyway, even if the, I don't know, even if the formula was like a lot, the brush is only going to carry so much. While this side is just starting to dry, I go back to it, and that's usually a good moment to build a mascara, but the length is really nice. Okay, got to take a little pause on that eye before I add another coat, but a couple, 2.5 coats there. I'm really liking the length. I'm going to apply a little lower lash mascara. I've been playing around with this one from M Cosmetics. This is a tubing mascara, and it does last super well. I was wearing it yesterday, had a tearful moment, don't worry. It's fine. It stayed though. And the tiny bit that did come off, you know, it didn't smear. That's the benefit of the tubing. It just kind of comes off like almost a little rubber bit or something. Back over here. I am totally getting reminded of the fact that this is a great lengthening mascara, and what's so great about it is that it builds and builds on itself without getting those funky, squirrely looking ends that look like they're pointing off in different directions. The brush is really easy to control, and for the most part, I'm not having a lot of lashes like sticking together. I often describe that as the look of 5 lashes, you know, where everything's teaming up and sticking to itself. The one thing though, I feel like I did lose some curl that I established with my lash curler, but I think as this dries a little more, I can kind of do my little blinky trick and help everything stay. I'm glad I picked that up again. Another thing I got recently mascara-wise was, I think this might have been a 100 or, I don't know, probably took a ton of points at Sephora to get this little guy. This Fenty mascara, it's the full frontal. And the tube is so teensy, yet the brush is really big. You turn it one way, it's kind of flat. I like the closeness of the bristles. I feel like it does a good job getting through. I like the taper at the tip. I feel like there's honestly not quite enough juice in the tube to lay enough down on the lashes, is the feeling I'm getting. It's kind of slow to build up, and I'm not sure that the full size would actually be that way because you'd have a full size tube of goop. Got a couple of new lip liners from Milani. Is this what I want to use right now? Yeah, we'll use it. I used the Cinnamon Statement shade in my last video. It reminded me a lot of the color Spice that they've had for quite some time, but now I'm going to use Nude Entrance. And I was playing with this one yesterday also, and I just thought, man, great neutral lip liner. These are so smooth. Sometimes retractable lip liners actually can feel a little drier than the pencils just because you're not getting that fresh sharpen on them, you know? They can dry out a little more. Stop talking. Now guys, this ain't classic nude, is it? It's like soft, dusty rose, actually, but I'm not mad about that one bit. When I want definition, you know, it sometimes takes a color that's a little deeper to give you that. Oh, I love it. Love the tone. Love the cinnamon one too, but this is the Nude Statement shade. Ooh, just on its own, why not? Now this is what I do. You put your fingers right in front of your eyes and kind of blink down so it forces the lashes into an upturned place once you've got mascara on. Woo. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. Let me know what products you are most interested in that you heard me mention. Also, I've got a lip kit the lip kit from Too Faced that has the 4 melted mattes. I'm just gonna tell you right now, loving it so far. That's probably gonna turn up in a review soon, alongside some smaller Too Faced things. What are you seeing out there in the world right now that you're intrigued by? I feel like so many new things are coming out right now. It's that time of year. I am always open to your requests, so let me know. Thank you for watching and have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.